What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, we're breaking down what's going on with Tesla SPY and the QQQ and just a couple of tickers out there. I'm going to talk about why the market got this huge drop in the pre-market as we have some bearish news that came out for the whole markets, as many banks got some big downgrades from Moody's. I'm going to break down why that's going to be very, very important, what's going on with the data and earnings coming out very soon, and how all of this stuff may affect different stocks out there and Tesla. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things before starting. I am firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. It ends in just about 7 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, so looking at SPY, I called out this ascending wedge yesterday, and I told you guys there are two possibilities. If we broke above this could have been a trap, and we could have seen the market try to fill these imbalances. So like right here, look at how we had this massive drop over a small period of time. The market could have tried to fill these levels if we were bullish. And if we were bearish, we would break below it. So I told you to watch which way we break. That's going to determine which way the market ends up going. And what happened was we got a break to the downside. We actually broke this near the very early hours today. Not today. I think this was actually yesterday during the end of the after hours. And then during the pre-market, we gapped down and started dropping really hard like a rock. So it ended up playing out. It's just that it took a while for this to really turn, and the market ended up getting this rug pull afterwards. Now, I was open to both possibilities yesterday, but I told you all that the market looked like it wanted to hold up on the tech side, but that was based off the technicals at the time. I think this could completely change in the markets because of some new news that comes out. And it's very important to look at the news and how that affects the markets as well, because sometimes the news could trump technical analysis. Sometimes that happens. And I wanted to call that out for today once I break down the news. But for now, let's talk about the market. We have Harker and Barkin giving speeches from the Fed. One thing that's decent is Harker from the Fed said that interest rates are at an end, or the hikes of interest rates have been coming to an end in his opinion. And that's some important stuff that he just said, but that alone is not significant enough to help the market like start to rally really hard compared to the news that came out, which I will talk about in just a few minutes. But first, when it comes to exports and imports data, this was as expected. And then the economic optimism reports coming out at about 10 o'clock a.m. So we should see some volatility right there because of that. And once again, that's 10 a.m. Eastern time or New York time. So make sure you're ready for that. Expect some volatility at 10 o'clock a.m., 30 minutes after the market opens. Then to add on to this, I just wanted to mention that Rivian and AMC have their earnings after the market closes, but for Wednesday, we have Roblox, Sony, and Disney all announcing earnings as well. And Disney is going to be a big one, so I can't wait for that. And then to add on to all of this, what should we know about the stock market? Well, the news has come out basically that, well, I'm going to start from the beginning. The reason why the market's holding up is because earnings have been quite decent. Secondly, Berkshire Hathaway had a great day breaking all-time highs with strong earnings and lots of cash they are hoarding. Tesla's CFO basically has been announced to be stepping down. Zach is going to be stepping down. I talked about this yesterday in lots of detail. Now that he's stepping down, he's going to be replaced by someone else. And this was part of why Tesla dropped yesterday before trying to rebound. This was some big news, so I just wanted to call that out. And then this is the big news that just came out this morning. The bank concerns are back. So basically, the ratings agency Moody has cut the credit ratings for many small banks, about 11 in total. And this has led, a lot of them to actually dropping very hard in a lack of confidence in the banking sector. They announced that this is because of the high interest rate environment, not to mention the fact that depositors are taking funds from a lot of them. And this is leading to a lot of drains in the system-wide deposits. They mentioned that the high interest rates are depressing basically the value of their fixed assets, and all of these things are just not really good for them. So they basically downgraded the credit ratings of these banks, which has led to a lack of confidence in them, which has led to concerns about the banking sector, which has led the market to basically coming down. So all of this is like a domino effect, one thing leading to another. And the market is quite concerned about this, but we will see how it reacts to this. Because remember, we already saw a big drop in the pre-market. The question is, will we drop more? Will we try to bounce? Here's my answer. Looking at this, we have this ascending wedge or rising wedge on SPY. And when this thing broke, the whole market came down with it. The same thing happened on the QQQ, also with Aapl. As these three giants dropped, the whole market followed, including Tesla. Now, what could happen is we could see the market make an attempt to bounce and retest 448 or so, maybe a little bit above 448 flats and try to get close to this gap right here, but it may reject off this and end up continuing to drop. So if we like rebound and break above this gap and just try to keep going, then you have to watch like 450 to see if you can break this resistance to fill this gap. So that's like the more bullish case. The more bearish case would be SPY basically pushes to this 448 resistance, then rejects and comes right back down and starts downtrending all the way back down to 446.5. So what do I think is more likely? Well, honestly, guys, we have to watch how it reacts to the 448s. That's going to be significant. I'm going to be watching for a retest of the 448s, and then we're going to see if the market could try to keep going or if the market rejects once I show you the EMAs. So these are the EMAs basically. If we retest this 448 area, I'm going to be watching, can SPY make an attempt to bounce or will SPY end up failing? We first have to hold above our 5 EMA, which is almost exactly at 448. Will we break it or not? That's going to be the question. If we reject off of it, the market could start downtrending a lot lower. If we manage to break it, we could see a retest of these high levels and then like lots of sideways price action afterwards. So it all depends on the test. My gut tells me that we might get a rejection off it and see the market downtrend a little lower. But just to be safe, we have to wait for confirmation and see the test of 448 first. We're currently at 447.73. We're trying to get closer to 448. And above that, we have 448.89 and 449. So somewhere around this 448 level to 448.8, we're going to be watching for rejection. And we will see which way the market goes. So be very careful. We are looking very weak in the 30 minutes time frame. This does look like the market's going to be very weak today. So I'm going to be very concerned and very, very careful when trying to play this, okay? So just wait for it, see which way it goes, and be very, very patient. Now, the reason why I was talking about SPY first is because the whole market is reacting similarly. Tesla is down 1.7% again in the pre-market. I'm going to be watching for a retest of 248.8. Sorry about that, guys. 248.8 basically. Tesla's going to retest the 20 EMA. It could reject off this and come right back down and start downtrending even more into like the lower 240s. That's one possibility for Tesla. If it holds above the 20 EMA, above 248.81, we could see Tesla try to push up to fill this gap at 250. And it just really depends on the test. I think it's going to get a pop in the morning, retest 248.8. And I'm not sure if it's going to break or not. It really depends on the news and how the market really like takes it in. If we get a big rejection, Tesla could come right back down and start downtrending and hit these lower levels. If it doesn't reject and tries to hold up, then we might just see some sideways price action and just a range bound day for Tesla where it just goes back and forth between like 246 to 248. My gut tells me it might hit this and reject and start downtrending a little bit more and start to make its way back to like the mid, like 244s, if not lower levels. That's what I think is becoming a little bit more likely, but it all depends on this test. So watch for this test right here. See how Tesla reacts to this line right here. Do we end up breaking this resistance or not? Or do we end up getting a big rejection? The odds do favor this potentially getting a rejection looking at the current MACD, but just to be safe, wait for confirmation. Be very careful, everyone, because once again, this big news came out. Market's slowing down as a result of it. Apple is trying to balance and retest around this, 180 area. But the problem with Apple is I can't guarantee anything. Apple's trying to rebound, but there's no guarantee it's going to be able to. So the best thing to do is just to be as patient as possible. And last but not least, for the triple Q, triple Q is going to rebound, try to retest 373. We're going to be watching, can we break 373 on the triple Q, or are we going to reject off of it? If we reject off it, we could see this thing retest 371 or drop lower. If we break above 373, we have the potential to fill this gap. It all depends on the test. I'm not 100% sure which way it's going to go. It depends on how the market interprets this news, but I will tell you that the market's going to most likely be weak looking at the MACD. We're not going to see as much aggressive buying, and the market may continue to slow down. So we might be getting a rejection at 373. I'm leaning a little bit more in that direction, and then we might see the market kind of like downtrend from there. So I'm leaning more in that direction for more weak price action. I think that could happen for Tesla as well after this bearish news. So watch and see our retests of these resistance levels, this like 448 level on SPY, for example, and see if we reject or not. Do we reject or do we try to get a bounce? It all depends. My gut tells me it's going to reject and we're going to see the market drop lower as we're looking relatively weak. But just to be safe, play the chart and wait for confirmation. All right, guys. So thank you for listening. As for Tesla, once again, I think this thing is going to retest 248. Maybe get a little pop in the open, and then we'll see if Tesla could bounce or not. And my gut tells me it might reject. We might get a rejection off 248 and just start downtrending a little lower into like the lower 240s. There's increased probability of that just based off technical analysis right now. It's looking kind of weak right now. But just to be safe, wait for that confirmation. We will see which way Tesla goes. As far as the levels go, I forgot to mention these just real quick. Resistances for Tesla is going to be at 247, 248.8, 250, 250.8, and 252.5, with support at 245.95, 244.5. Then we have 242.5 and then 240 as supports. So watch for a potential pop, see if there's going to be a rejection, and then we will go on from there. All right, so thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone. Market to the moon, because the long term is very bright despite the short term fluctuations. And then watch your charts very, very carefully. We're going to be seeing how the chart ends up looking. This is what I have on SPY so far. I'm going to be retesting this and redrawing this once something happens during the open hours. And until then, I'll see you guys for the next one. Okay, so take care, everyone. Have a great day trading. Market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.